Welcome to the Georgia Florida Baseball Podcast. This show is brought to you by Georgia Showcase Baseball and its owner, Coach Ben House. Ben, how we doing?
Doing good, KP. How are you?
I'm great. This is the second part of a two-part series with Mr. Greg Goodwin. And Greg, how are we doing, first of all?
Doing fine. Thank you for asking. How are you?
I'm great. I am great. Thank you for giving us your time like you have. Last episode, we went to near and dear to Greg's heart first. We went to Redan High School. We talked about his book. I highly recommend you go back and watch that episode and check it out. Greg is also not just an educator, principal, high school coach, all those wonderful things. He was also a scout, and he has also been coming up with ways to make sure minority prospects get opportunities to play college baseball and pro baseball. And we're going to learn a little bit about that journey as well as we go through this. Does that sound good, Greg?
Sounds great.
All right, we're going to do all of that and more after this.
This is the Georgia Florida Baseball Show, brought to you by Coach Ben House with Kevin Perkins from Surrounded by Sports.
Welcome back. Thank you to our sponsor, Arden's Garden, Atlanta's source for juices, smoothies, plant-based foods. Also, thank you to Showcase Apparel, the fit for your team. Remember to like, subscribe to the Georgia Showcase Baseball YouTube channel, comment for a chance to win a t-shirt you design. More on that after the episode. Now, we come back and first you were a scout. How did becoming a scout happen? It evolved out of the Redan high school job, probably?
Yes, it did. Again, we were blessed to have so many talented players over there. Scouts lived at Redan High School. We were getting kids drafted every year. I became friends with several of them. There was a gentleman named John Castleberry at the time that was a scouting, area scouting director with Florida Marlin. And he asked me would I be interested in scouting part-time. And I told him I didn't think so because, coaching was what I lived for and what I loved. At the same time, the principal of Redan High School, Willie McGrady, was asking me, have you thought about being an assistant principal? And I said, no, never. I said, I'm a coach, And then he sat me down, he said, well, you're helping these kids get all these scholarships. You have to pay for your girls to go to school. I said, that makes sense. He said, you make a lot more money being an assistant principal than a teacher and a coach. And so it really was the perfect storm. Got an opportunity to be a scout, got an opportunity to be an administrator. So it was just the right timing. I was going to miss coaching, I knew that, but I was going to be able to stay in baseball. Mr. McGrady said that I could also do the scouting job part-time and that he knew I'd be leaving school early some days. Some days I wouldn't be at school, just depending on what was going on with the Marlins. So I took the job with John Castleberry, and that's what got me into scouting with the Florida Marlins.
It was important to you to stay in baseball no matter what.
Oh, no doubt about it, man. At this time, baseball was a huge part of my life. I made very little money in baseball, but the relationships that I had gained, the interaction with the kids, it was priceless. It was worth whatever little money I was making because it was something I loved, something I was passionate about, and obviously I was pretty good at it.
Right. Now, Ben, you get that, right? I mean, you work with young people every day. The rewards are so much more than monetary.
Yeah, every day. That's what drives me, man, because, people like Goody, lead me in the directions to maybe get, to get a corporate sponsor or to get a donor, just to help keep this program running. And that's what it takes in the community because Goody knows, you've heard the story, just the love of the game and being around the game and wanting to help kids get to where they wanted to get to to their next step in life. With baseball, it's a great thing, and Goody's helped me in so many ways he doesn't even know. Just by opening doors up with people, introducing me to people, or telling me, and he's even came and spoke at my my event that I had last year. We had a sneaker ball He came there and spoke at my event and greeted the kids and the parents, and he's just a wonderful person. He's great to know baseball wise, but more importantly, he's just a great person overall, and he just doesn't know how much he's influenced me just to keep going, even when doors are closing. He'll point me to another door and say, "Hey man, I think you need to go this way." He tries not to get involved, but he'll point you in the right direction to where you need to go. So, and if he has to get involved, he will. But a lot of times he'll just point you in the right direction and say, "Hey man, I think you need to do this before I do this." So yeah.
Well, and there,
Am I correct? Am I correct, Goody?
Yeah, yes, you are. Man, like I said, everybody has to go their own route, their own journey. But having been there and done that, I understand that there's going to be doors that close, and that's fine because there's going to be a window that opens. Don't be scared when people tell you no. You don't dwell on that. You move on to the next person.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And sometimes too, it's not even personal, right?
No, it's never personal.
No.
Never
Never
personal. Man,
personal.
people have other agendas. I mean, my agenda is not your agenda. And you got to understand that and appreciate that.
Right. Absolutely.
But look, it's never personal, but it's always about these kids getting what they need.
No doubt about it.
And that's what Goody's about.
Right? Oh man, no doubt about it.
Right. Now let's go back to scouting though, real quick. When you were scouting, you told me I was fat. We got to spend some time on the phone together, and the entire conversation was rewarding for me. But the part where you were talking about, you find a kid, you zero in on him, and you say, "This kid, we got to go get," and then you have to fight for that kid up until day. Talk about that for a minute.
I mean, baseball, fortunately for me, is not rocket science. I mean, evaluating baseball is pretty easy. If you understand baseball, I mean, there's only 5 tools in the game. And you look at those tools, you judge those tools. But I'm on the East Coast, so I'm gonna have to, even though I have a guy slotted going the first round, second round, third round, there's another guy on the West Coast that works with my same organization that has a guy going the first, second, and third round. So I'm competing against my own organization to get my person where I think he needs to be. So even when we go into the draft day, you're not sure where you're gonna be able to pick. You got 30 other clubs that has those same people on the board. So you got to be ready. If they grab your guy, who's your next guy? It's pretty intense. When you build these relationships with these kids, you think you got him in the right spot. If somebody comes in and gets him before you got to rewrite your whole script. And you better have somebody ready.
Now, let's say you're going into the draft. How many names do you walk in there with that are priorities?
Probably 30.
And when one comes off the board, do you easily slide a guy up, or do you go, infielder came off the board, so I got to bring an infielder into that slot, or do you go best available?
I don't go anything. There's a scouting director that does that.
Right.
He's going to say who you got, and he's going to ask the guy on the West Coast who you got. Then he's going to ask his pros checkers who is the better athlete? What are our needs? And usually if it's an arm pitcher, that guy's going to take priority. Or if it's a catcher, that guy might take priority. So it's a lot of interesting parts that go into it. I mean, what's your organizational need? Some guys might need a third baseman that year, But if you got a Chipper Jones in your organization that's 22 years old, hell, you don't need a third baseman for the next 20 years.
Right. Well, that's where we were going to in that same conversation. Now, you also talked about how the day after the draft, you fight for this kid, and if it goes your way, he gets drafted, and the very next day, you're out on the road looking for another player.
You keep that relationship, but your job is to replace that guy next year in the draft.
Right.
You don't share that information with him, but they know it's a business.
Right.
Every year there's a draft. Every year looking for better players. Every year somebody's going to get released.
Right. And there's only so many players that make the show. And so this is where I'm going is how hard it is to get to that top level and how the system is tough.
Oh, man. And I hate to equate these two things, but There's only 750 Major League Baseball players in the world. I mean, you go to Grady Hospital or Eastside Hospital, there's 750 doctors in there.
Right.
You
And
know,
it's a hard profession to be a part of.
oh, it's a tough profession. Just because you get drafted doesn't mean you're gonna make it in the big league. Are you gonna see a day in the big league? You know, again, I love the game, I love the sport, I love the industry, but it's a tough industry, man. There's only so many jobs.
Right. So let's pivot from that into what you're doing now with the one of the things you do now with MVP. Well, tell us how that started and why you thought it was important.
I was scouting with the Dodgers at the time. I had left the Marlins and went over to the Dodgers and talking with some like-minded people. And then we were talking about the lack of minority in Major League Baseball. And we saw the number dwindling. And we thought, you know, there's a lie going around that says black kids are not playing baseball anymore. And that wasn't true because when you go to scout, you see one or two on every team with the Big Perfect Game events or PBR events. There's always one or two. But collectively, you don't see a lot. So I said, let's put together a tournament where we have mostly minority kids, where we can get all of them in one spot. You know, we get about 7 or 8 teams and invite our college, because our goal is to get them involved in college. And, if, you know, because the kids are going to get drafted, they're going to be drafted anyway. And if one or two, we have a gym, one or two that's going to get drafted, that's fine too. But let's call our organization Mentoring Viable Prospects. I know a guy in Chicago that's doing a similar thing. I know a guy in North Carolina that's doing a similar thing. I know a guy in New Orleans doing a similar thing. I know a guy in Houston doing a similar thing. Let's get all these teams together one weekend, get the scouts out, and get all minority kids on one field at a quality level. We're not talking about kids that can't play. All these guys can play. They're invite only. And let's get the scouts out here and show that minorities are playing. Now, what I'm most proud of, we started this 20 years ago in Atlanta. We're still going strong. But since then, Major League Baseball has started its breakthrough program. That was born solely through what we did at MVP. Now, they might not tell you the same story, but it's true. Those in baseball know it's true. I'm not trying to sue anybody. I don't want copyright infringement. I'm glad you're doing it. I'm glad that we did it, so you had to do it. You know, because we got a lot of success from that program.
Right. Well, that's a beautiful thing about you, Greg, is you saw an issue, you addressed it in the best way you knew how. You brought people in to help you do it. And then when somebody else piggybacked off of it, you didn't say, hey, no, that's not cool. This is my thing. I'm the one profiting from it. You said, come on, let's keep it rolling.
Yeah, man. The thing about MVP, we don't have anybody on the payroll. All of us are volunteers. There's a good friend of mine, Alex White, who used to coach at Redan. He started Minority Baseball Prospects, probably the largest minority baseball company in the world now. Right. I don't have any ill feelings toward him. I'm glad he did what he's doing. He's helping a number of kids. You know, so my agenda is different, and Ben will tell you that. Man, it's about kids and about helping kids with me.
Right. I'm glad you brought up MVP because I was going to ask you about that. Do you want to talk about that organization a little bit?
Certainly.
They don't need it.
Alex White was a baseball coach at Redan High School, and during the pandemic, you know, he had a lot of time on his hands. Probably one of the best teams we had at Redan. Couldn't play that season. And he was bummed about it, frustrated about it. So he started working on the computer, following kids and trying to get kids in the showcases. And then he said, I might be onto something. And we collaborated and talked about it. And Alex took it to another level. Now he has a All-American games he does with high school, All-American games he does at the HBCU. He does softball. He just invented something that we started at MVP, and it's really MVP with steroids.
Right.
And I sit on his board. You know, we're all about helping each other, man, helping these children.
Right. The high tide is supposed to raise all ships.
That's correct. That's
the point of what we're doing, right?
Yep, no doubt about it.
Right. Okay, we're going to break on that. We're going to get a commercial in real quick. We're going to come right back, and then we're going to wrap this thing talking a little bit more about partnerships, etc.
Hey, we're going to wrap. We just got started.
We're coming right back. And welcome back. Thank you to our sponsor, Arden's Garden, Atlanta's source for juices, smoothies, and plant-based foods. Also, thank you to Showcase Apparel, the fit for your team. Remember to like, subscribe to the Georgia Showcase Baseball YouTube channel, comment for a chance to win a t-shirt you design with Coach Ben House. And we'll talk about that after the episode's over. Coach, you've had a little bit of it. MLB, you mentioned MLB earlier. Do you feel that they are starting to embrace things that you started more than just that one aspect?
Oh, no doubt about it, man. They got Dream Series that they do. They have a Hank Aaron Invitational. This guy that does overused baseball, Tony Reagan, who's vice president of Major League Baseball, he's done tremendous work along with Dale Matthews and Kendu. And again, we collaborate, we talk. Antonio Grissom works with them. He's the head coach at Morehouse. So, and I'm not name dropping, but these are people that make it happen.
Right.
And I've been fortunate to be a part of it. And they know my passion. And what better organization to help kids in Major League Baseball?
They have revenue.
There's no fun without fun.
So tell me that now you do work a little bit. You have interacted some with the Braves as well. I think they're a program that tries to get involved in the community, correct?
No doubt about it. I work with the Marquise Grissom Association, and Ben knows that I've been doing the RBI program with Marquise for the last 4 years. That program has grown and continues to grow. We're just trying to grow the game. And the Atlanta Braves have been very gracious. And why wouldn't they be? Well, they got Marquise Grissom right here in Atlanta, born and bred, who played for the Braves, won a World Championship with the Braves, to spearhead that effort. So it's a labor of love. We're getting a lot of kids involved in the game, and it's the best bang for your buck. I think these kids pay $100 to participate in the RBI program. They play a couple of games a week, and which allows them, to those that want to continue to play travel ball on the weekends. We play in the middle of the week.
Okay. Now, pivoting from that to all of this, you said earlier, I've heard you in that several interviews mention that, they said, black kids don't play baseball anymore. And you were like, no, they do when they're young. But isn't that important for organizations like Ben that work with the younger kids to help kids develop and have some success in baseball? Therefore, they like it. Therefore, they continue to play it.
No doubt about it. But it's bigger than Ben. It's bigger than myself. Until the NCAA allows more than 11.7 scholarships at the Power 5 schools, and HBCUs have even less scholarships than that. Unless those scholarships are available, we can't ask a kid to turn down 100% in football or 100% in basketball to take 25% in baseball. We're going to lose kids every year because they're just that good of athletes. And again, these kids that come from impoverished homes, I mean, I'd be crazy to tell that kid to take a $100,000 loan and go to play baseball. That's crazy. And so it's bigger than Ben and I, and we understand that. So hopefully, eventually, there'll be more scholarships available, and our kids will continue to play baseball at the collegiate level.
Well, and we talked about that a little bit in that, my frustration right now with the NCAA, with just powers that be like that I'm watching as the numbers, as we see an SEC network and an ACC network and a Big Ten network, all of, Big Ten's Fox, but all the others, ESPN writes these huge checks for, and they reap these huge benefits on the fact that my mom and dad can watch the team she wants to watch every day. They're at Florida State, right? So they watch Florida State softball and baseball every day. And there's people all over the country doing that.
Correct.
We have people with Phelps. We have guys at Georgia. So I pull up Georgia games and watch it because I'm fond of Coach Phelps. And so because you can do that, they're paying out these enormous amounts of money, and the NCAA is not taking the fact that women's basketball is getting 15 million views, and softball is getting millions of views, and baseball is getting millions of views, and you're not paying hardly anything. I mean, NCAA is paying nothing to put that out. They could give scholarships away.
Yeah, they could.
Hurt them at all.
That's a whole nother program.
Yeah.
NCAA is a little upset at the world now because of the NIL deals and these kids getting this money. So they're not trying to raise scholarships now.
Right.
They're trying to get the fingers around NIL deals, and
Right.
that's a whole nother show.
Right, but Ben, now your son is on a scholarship at Wallace State. That's you're in the middle of what we're talking about. You want to comment on it?
Yeah. Well, yeah, my son's in a different situation. At a JUCO.
Right.
He's got a full scholarship, and he elected to stay off campus. So that's the only thing that I'm paying for is just his living expenses. Paying for his apartment, but everything else, is paid for. His school's paid for.
Right. A lot of people don't realize that though. Like the NJCAA, they don't operate like the NCAA.
No, it's totally different.
If you go to
totally
the
different
school, you don't, right?
Totally different.
Yeah.
And that's another thing Ben and I do. We educate people because a lot of people, everybody has their eyes set on Power 5. That might not be the best place for you, you know? And so I'm a proponent of just going to school. You know, I don't care if it's Division III, NAIA, JUCO, just go to school. Because the bottom line is you have a better job of getting your education playing Major League Baseball.
Right. And now, Jamie, for example, he's going to get 2 years paid for and then more, right? You want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah. So, yeah, people don't understand that scholarships are year to year. So, you're going in the fall, playing fall ball, playing fall collegiate baseball, and then going into your spring season. You're not guaranteed that, after that spring season is over with, that you're going to go back to that school unless they offer you another scholarship. A lot of parents don't know that. So it's a lot to learn. While you're going through this, I'm learning a lot while my son's going through this collegiate process. So it's very valuable information out there that parents and kids need to understand before they commit or either try to assign a college scholarship. Things that they do need to know.
Right, and we've interviewed the young man that played at Southern. We've interviewed Coach Tuskegee, and they both talk about how they're trying to figure out ways to package deals at the HBCUs to make sure we can make so that a kid gets out of school not incredibly in debt and able to progress forward, right? But let's move into something else because I want to wrap talking about some of the awards you've gotten. What was the Love of the Game award, Coach?
The Love of the Game award was presented to me by the Georgia Professional Coaches and Scouts Association. It was just a Lifetime Achievement Award for my involvement in the game of baseball. And like I told you, Perk, I am blessed to receive these awards, but I'm even more blessed that I've been able to help children, man. And I think when we receive these awards, these people understand that I'm passionate about helping children. I'm serious about the game. I'm serious about it being played the right way. I'm serious about giving opportunities for kids that deserve these opportunities that play the game the right way. Right.
But that thing is, first of all, I love the fact that you said it was just a Lifetime Achievement Award. That's well put. Okay. The Hall of Fame Dugout Association. What is that association? And we put into their Hall of Fame?
Yeah, I was very blessed when I retired from coaching at Redan. They have a rule that you need to coach 20 years and this type of thing. They waived that rule. I was the youngest coach. I coached 12 years, the youngest coach, and the first African-American inducted into the Georgia Dugout Coaches Hall of Fame. That's the High School Coaches Association for the state of Georgia, and I'm very pleased to be a part of that. I am still on the executive board and advisory board for that, along with Dave McDonald, who's the executive director. We put on the All-Star games every year. We put on the Georgia Dugout Classic preseason tournament. We just try to promote the game in the state of Georgia, and we're on par with. Used to be California, Florida had the top players. We're on par with anybody now, and we're very proud of what we've done as an organization at the Georgia Dugout Club.
Awesome. Now, the rise to greatness, you got it last year. Let me see if I can remember how this went. You go to the Dominican Republic to help out there. Talk about that a little bit, if you don't mind.
Yeah, I was blessed to go to the Dominican when I was scouting, and man, when I saw those kids over there that are so grateful to get a T-shirt or a baseball or a cap, and how starved they are for baseball. I mean, these kids are impoverished, and the love of the game is just incredible. I've never seen it, man. And I do a lot of course, a lot of stuff for our kids here in the United States. Those kids are grateful. And the smiles that I see on those kids' face made me determined that if I was able, I would go back and do a clinic. And we've been fortunate to go back and do clinics the last 3 years in the Dominican.
Amazing. Now, and then you get back in town and you go to Florida and you get a Rise to Greatness Award. What is that organization and what was that about?
There's a guy named Jerry Ford that started an organization that everybody that involved in baseball knows, Perfect Game. He started Perfect Game years ago, did a great job. Matter of fact, he's the godfather of travel baseball. Once he started the Perfect Game, man, it was the end-all, be-all for baseball. Jerry sold the organization a couple of years ago, still wants to be involved in baseball, and started a nonprofit organization where he wants to put on free clinics all over the country for minority kids, because he sees the decline on the major league level for minorities, and he wants to give back and help any way he can. And I've been blessed to been asked to be on his board, and we do tremendous work together. I was a little surprised when they gifted me with a service award, lifetime service award for my work in baseball. Because I mean, there was CC Sabathia and Brian Jordan and other big leaguers that have impacted the game with their playing ability, but they've had the funds to give back so much to other areas. And where I lack in funds, I think I make up in passion. And I don't mind asking people for money to help our programs, and we've been able to do a lot. And like I said, I don't take these awards lightly. I'm blessed to have received them, but I'm even more blessed to have helped children.
Okay. Part of the reason why I forced you to talk about all that is I feel like we needed to give you some flowers. And I don't think you like that process. But I do also think people need to understand that you are a conduit of all these great things that are happening with minority baseball and giving people a chance. And I appreciate that. I know Ben appreciates that. And I don't think you can do much more positive in the world than try to give people an opportunity to better themselves through learning lessons in baseball, but also just through opening opportunities for people. And we appreciate you doing that for folks, Greg.
Hey, man, I thank you so much for that. And again, that's just my obligation, because the game has given me so much. I think I owe it to give people that want an opportunity, that have the talent to reach the next level, man. That's what I've tried to do.
Ben, you got anything to add?
Nah, man, I just want to say thank you, Coach, for all that you've done for me and my program, these kids, and just all over Atlanta, man. I just really appreciate you, man. You've paved the way for a lot of people to do great things, man. For people that want to do great things, you paved the way, and I just want to say thank you.
No, man, thank you for helping kids, Ben.
All right,
Yes,
man.
sir.
That's great. We're going to wrap it on that. Thank you so much. Appreciate you. Stay tuned. I'll tell you who's going to get to talk to Coach Ben House and design a T-shirt after this. Appreciate y'all.
All right, man. Thank you all. Take care.
I'm back. I'm KP. Thank you for watching that last episode with Coach Greg Goodwin. Fantastic. I appreciated episode 1 where he let us in on even more knowledge about Reed Dan. And then he comes into episode 2, tells us about scouting, tells us about collaborating to make sure the kids get a chance to do more and working inside the community with people. And I appreciated him doing that for us. Now, the winner of your t-shirt this week was Coach Carl Brooks. He commented on Instagram. Coach, thank you very much for commenting on Instagram, and thank you very much for watching these episodes. Contact Coach Ben House at 678-469-5994. That would be Showcase Apparel. Coach Ben House is not only Georgia Showcase Baseball, he is also Showcase Apparel. 678-469-5994 would be the phone number to contact him or text him, or you can get in touch with him at showcasebaseball.georgia@gmail.com. Thank you for watching, folks. Continue to like, continue to subscribe, continue to comment on these episodes. We want to know as much as we can possibly know. The more information we bring in, the more we can help pass knowledge on to people who want to watch these episodes, people who want to learn more about South Atlanta baseball, or about giving your kid a chance to get a scholarship somewhere. How does scholarship money come about? Those things are going to be prominent in the next couple of episodes, along with telling the stories of people that are trying to give kids an opportunity to play baseball and excel in it. Thank you very much. We appreciate you, and watch the next episode. Like, comment, subscribe.